My God, I hate drugs.
Sabi ni Miguel Francisco, kasi ina-others na natin ngayon ng yellows after decades of being in power, kaya ang lakas nila gumawa ng issue. Actually, that's a good point. Ina-others natin sila. Totoo yan. Kaya, di ba, for the longest time, and I'm very, very guilty of this. This is also my fault. Hindi ko dapat tinatawag yung kabila, yung others na others, o yung mga dilaw as dilaw. Kasi it is in fact divisive. Diba? Ina-others nga natin sila. But the fact is that we are all Filipinos. Yun na nga, when it comes to the discussion of politics, then we have to give them a tag to identify them as those who have a particular philosophy or particular mindset na hindi rin natin kapareho. Wala tayong choice but you're right, we also have to recognize na ina-others din natin sila. Sabi ni Emily, sana nga maayos ang problema sa Scarborough Shoal kasi may mapapanood kasi YouTube, lumapit ang Chinese na nakakasakay sa boat, lumapit sa mga ngisda, naiyak na lang ang isang mga ngisda kasi wala siyang magawa, na basta-basta na lang nabukas ang timba at kinuha ang gusto nila. In-explain yun kanina during the press briefing, one of the reasons kung bakit ganito, of course ayaw nila yon. Hindi naman daw kino-confiscate yung isda, pero hinihingan sila. So, they don't like it, parang kinokotongan sila, so to speak. Yun ang ayaw nila na masyadong madalas silang kinokotongan. Yun yung pinagka-clarify nila. But to say na hindi sila pinapayagan mag-fish, hindi, iba yun. Sabi ni Alta, Monique, gusto ng LP, mabahala tayo sa mga Chinese dito. Na-surprise din ako kasi yung better half ko ay sadly, dilawan mag-isip. Biglan lang nababahala siya na ang daming Chinese sa paligid. Sabi ko, Halar, kaya lang ka pa ba na concern sa maraming Chinese? Love na love mo nga ang Mamon. Look, you give me my favorite Salazar Hopia. Kaloka yung mga dilawan. That's it. That's exactly it. Parang all of a sudden, takot tayo sa Inchik when all of this time, we have been trading with them since the 10th century. What the hell are you talking about? Diba? Suddenly, takot tayo sa Inchik. Welcome natin sila ng welcome all the time. We have been, like I said, we've been trading with them since the 10th century. Ngayon kayo matatakot? Sabi ni Jojo, Alejandro needs to shut up na gusto niya ang war to Chinese. Kung gusto niya talaga, he will go to war for himself. Sabi ni Jock, West Philippine issue is being used to fuel hatred against the Chinese because America is threatened by them. Duterte realized long ago that China is now a superpower. Why not join them rather than oppose? It's a win-win for us. Yun na nga, the point is that we have to start making foreign policy not based on particular biases. In fact, biases that were imposed upon us, historically imposed upon us, so that we don't even realize that those are the roots of our bias, of our othering. Diba? Isipin mo that part of the reason why we are suspicious, why we call them others, is because Lima Hong's men were able to breach the walls of the Intramuras, or because when we finally recognized the Chinese's presence here and asked them to assimilate, they became so successful and far more successful than the natives population, and they had so much money that even the Spanish colonials had to recognize them. It's suspicion of success. It's, if you water it down, if you bring it down to its bare essentials, it's inggit. So let's recognize it for what it is, and let's make foreign policy based on what is good for the nation. And nakikita naman natin, is it good for the nation to declare war? Is it good for the nation to be aggressive? We can compromise. We can sit down, we can talk, we can keep relations with the Chinese, we can trade with them while continuing to talk about our exclusive economic zone. What is wrong? Diba? Okay, Jean, I will answer your question. Pero yung premise mo, medyo maano na kaagad eh. Why are Manileños very regionalistic? Right off the bat, inother mo na kami. Manileños, regionalistic. To people like me from Mindanao. I'm sorry, but I grew up in Quezon City. Batang Cubao talaga ako. But I also grew up partly in Mindanao. So you cannot say in general Manileños are like this. First of all, this construct, people keep talking about an Imperial Manila. Imperial Manila is a construct. What is Manila made up of? Except of people who have been coming from various parts of the country and relocating to Manila. There are very few people who are indigenous to Manila. So, saan ang gagaling? So, sasabihin ninyo Imperial Manila, pero yung mga denizens ng Manila actually come from the provinces, kaya nga na-empty ang Manila during Holy Week and during the times na may election. When you say Imperial Manila, what exactly do you mean? And why do you say that we are regionalistic? How can we be regionalistic? Manila isn't even a region. And there is no, I'm not saying that there are no people who don't understand Mindanao, because let's face it, the average Filipino doesn't understand Mindanao because they have not been there. And because, because they keep, there's so much play up in the media about, about fighting, about kidnapping and all of that, that there is this artificial, what do you call this, construct about what it is. But it isn't just Manila, it's the rest of the world. It isn't, it's so much of the country that has so much misinformation about that. I go to Mindanao all the time. In fact, part of my childhood was spent in Sulu, in Jolo, and in Cotabato, and in Zamboanga. So, we also have to be careful that when you generalize, automatically you are guilty as well of othering. You can say some people from Manila don't understand Mindanao. Yes, that is acceptable. But when you say right away Manileños are regionalistic, that's it. You just isolated everybody else. Sabi ni Jovinel, I'm Cebuano, we're always discriminated by the Tagalogs because of our accent when we speak Tagalog. But when I am in Mindanao, or when I am in the Visayas, then I am also discriminated because I am Tagalog and I do not understand Visaya. Diba? People laugh at me. I don't care, but don't say that it only goes one way. That's the whole point of this lecture, the whole point of this discussion. The whole point of this discussion is to understand that discrimination also comes from us. That we also have to recognize that we participate in it when we others. Diba? When the fact is that we're all Filipinos, sure, it's funny to talk about accents. Sure, it's funny, but come on, let's face it, sino bang dehado? Diba kung Tagalog ka, dehado ka na kagad because the national language is so close to Tagalog that you don't really learn another language. Whereas if you are Bisaya, you will learn Filipino and you will learn English and automatically you have 3 languages. Diba? Sabi ni J.C. Crook, I'm Filipino-American, my father is American with a German and Irish descent, and my mother is Filipina. I totally understand racism that we're facing right now. Yes, so how do we deal with it? First, we have to understand the historical roots. Ganito po yun, ganito yung nangyari. O ayan na naman, Krits, bakit ngaw-ngaw nang nangaw-ngaw ang Taga-Luzon about martial law? Ayan na naman, Taga-Luzon ako, ngumangaw-ngaw ba ako about martial law? Yung ngumangaw, identify them, because once you make a generalization about people from a particular geographical area, then you are othering and you are in a sense being, well, it's not racism kasi hindi naman race, regionalistic. Diba? Parang sinasabi mo, kami mga taga Mindanao, di namin maintindihan kung bakit kami inaapi ng mga taga Maynila. Unang-una, taga Maynila ako, inapi ba kita? Diba? Generalizations really do not help. Understand this. If you see somebody who is othering you, then identify that person and then let us deal with the fact of othering. Let's deal with the fact of the discrimination. Let's deal with it on an individual basis and understand that people are educated now and that we can talk about this, and in fact, we must talk about this. So it's easy for us to talk about othering the Chinese kasi ang tingin ninyo, hindi tayo yon. But when you're talking about Imperial Manila, don't you think you're othering us as well? Diba? When you're talking about itong mga Taga-Luzon, ngaw-ngaw about this or that, hindi others nyo kami. Diba? We're actually a minority here, and I hope you recognize it. I hope you recognize that people are playing on our fears. People are playing on the tendency to be divided, and when we are divided, we're easy to govern by selfish interests. That's how they governed us for such a long time. Buti may Duterte. Buti may Duterte who turns all of these things upside down. Diba? Buti may Duterte who challenges our cherished beliefs. Diba? Nenita Haley says, I remember when I studied in Tacloban, some people there made fun of people speaking Tagalog. I personally experienced it Kala kasi nila, nagyayabang ako sa pagsasalita ng Tagalog noon. Hindi nila alam na bagong santa lang talaga ako doon at trying hard pa matuto ng waray-waray dialect. Dapat kasi, at least, sinasa isip ng mga Pinoy yung discrimination na gano'n. Sabi ni Leanne, it's time to upgrade our fishing vessels similar to jeepney modernization to equip fishermen with navigational systems and community. I don't think that there is any lack of technology here. It's available. What's not available is financing. So, don't think that our fishermen are only in bangkas. The fishermen who go to Baha Masinloc and who go all the way to Scarborough aren't just the bangka type. Diba, these are motorized and they're bigger than the outrigger kind of bangka. So, let's also get rid of our inherent biases that when you say fisherman, kala mo nagsasagwan. Hindi, our fishermen do. In fact, many of our fishermen have they're not marginalized. So, there's a difference. Yung mga marginalized fishermen, usually, hindi sila masyadong lumalaot. Nag-fish sila dun sa municipal waters. So, dun sa mga areas, hindi sila masyadong lumalayo. So, to be able to fish in farther areas, in deeper waters, then you need bigger boats. And we do have that. Of course, it would be nice if there was more financing for fishing, pero if there are issues like this nga, like in the West Philippine Sea and going all the way to Scarborough, and titignan natin din kung hindi ganun pa kasira yung area na yon, if there is enough fish to go around for it to be commercially viable. Sabi ni Georgie Loyola, yes, regionalism even brought rise to a tag of Republic of Cebu, which is otherism again. Yes, but also recognize that Cebu is as guilty of othering everybody else. Diba? Gusto nila kanila yung national language and all of that. And ako, I don't mind what they want. It is more like the compelling to be part of the Republic, compelling to recognize that you have many achievements and all of that, but don't forget that you're still part of the Republic.